think he focuses on it a bit too much when he could be focusing on something better to make a show more interesting. I think that he focuses on social media a bit too much, and if he didn't, I think that his shows and the way he produces them would be a lot better. So I'm hoping that more shows from Nickelodeon are produced in years to come that don't focus on social media as much as shows like iCarly and even Victorious, which doesn't focus on social media as much as iCarly did, but it focuses on social media enough that it's noticeable, because we get the mobile updates from Tori Vega in between scenes, and we get a lot of referencing of the slap.com, similar to how iCarly was consistently referenced. If you get away from referencing social media as much as you have over the years, you might create a show that has a lot of potential. And I'm not saying that Dan Strider hasn't created shows with a lot of potential, because iCarly and Zoe 101 had a lot of potential, even though Zoe 101 only lasted a couple of seasons, and Victoria Justice's character Lola wasn't emphasized on enough, only given a couple of opportunities. There was one edition of Zoe 101 where she got a chance to wrestle with Jamie Lynn Spears' character in the way of a mud wrestling match, which was very different for her character. Even though Zoe 101 only lasted a couple of seasons, I think that a lot of his shows had a lot of success. But if he gets away from focusing on social media, shows that he's going to produce in years to come, and the stars that are going to be featured on these shows are going to be guaranteed success. I think that he's definitely an award-winning producer for a lot of reasons. It's because he treats all of his characters with a lot of respect. Every character that he creates has an equally effective role as the lead actor or actress of the show. No character is treated differently from another one. There is a lot of emphasis on the main characters of his shows, but every character has an equally effective role, and the roles and work ethic is distributed evenly. And they spend hours filming these shows. If you've seen any of the bloopers for shows like iCarly and Victorious, the amount of work ethic that goes into it is incredible. The final season of iCarly was incredible top to bottom. Every edition of the final season of iCarly had something authentic. There was even one edition where they were sued an incredible amount of money. They had to get themselves out of a unscapable predicament, which they did. There were a lot of things emphasized in the final season of iCarly, and if there was one season of iCarly that should be watched from top to bottom and critically reviewed, it is the final season of iCarly, because the amount of guest appearances we saw on the show from the way of One Direction, and many guest appearances we saw from even past guests of iCarly from previous seasons. If there's one season that you should go back through and watch in its entirety from episode 1 right through to the season finale and the final iCarly ever, it's season 6. It's incredible. Honestly, and I think that fans of iCarly should have no regrets. If you are overcome with emotion because this is it, and you feel like you've lost a big part of your life, I understand where you're coming from, because these kind of fans support these kind of shows like you wouldn't believe. But I think that you should have no regrets for being a fan of iCarly, because every fan of iCarly brought something special to that show, especially the fans that had videos of themselves featured during the credits of some of the shows of iCarly. If you were one of those special fans that had your video that you sent into iCarly featured in the credits, you have nothing to regret and nothing to be ashamed of, because you contributed to iCarly just as much as some of the biggest fans did. I think that fans of iCarly were incredible because of the way that they supported the show. And one thing that I really have to put over is how, near the end of the show, how Miranda Cosgrove and Jen McCarthy became their real selves so unexpectedly while they were shooting the last iCarly ever, before they announced that she was going to Fern, Italy, and she was finishing it up. It was incredible. You know, one minute they were on-screen characters, and the next minute they kind of just break character, and then they start talking about how if it wasn't for their fans, they would have been just a couple of idiots with a camera. I have never seen that kind of approach taken for a season finale for a children's show, so I got to give you a lot of credit for that. It took a lot of guts, and to actually attempt something like that for the first time ever on a children's show makes you an award-winning producer and an award-winning production team all around, because I've never seen that done before, and it just showed me a lot of qualities that I never got a chance to see in any previous season or any previous edition of iCarly. When they broke character, and they went back to being their on-screen characters after making a statement on the final iCarly, it was almost as if you were seeing Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCarthy unportrayed as Carly and Sam. From the time they broke character right up until the final few words that were said on the show. It was incredible. You could have almost had the show be portrayed with them not even being their on-screen characters. It was that good. So I got to give you guys a lot of credit for doing that. It took a lot of guts, and you pulled it off. All the years that you put into iCarly were incredible. I would have loved to have seen other characters kind of break character in the way of Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCarthy. I kind of regret not seeing that from characters like Freddie and even Gibby. I would have loved to have seen that. I have seen a lot of interviews that you guys have done following the final season of iCarly to promote it. It's just been so incredible seeing and hearing your opinion on it. And that's why I want to hear a lot of opinions from fans of iCarly and how you guys feel about the final season of iCarly, especially the final iCarly ever. That was just packed with emotion. That's why I'm reaching out to all of you, and I want to connect with you on Facebook. So if you have an opinion on the final season of iCarly, you can send me a message on Facebook at facebook.com/HEW Entertainment. You can send me a tweet on Twitter at twitter.com/JonathanClarke1, and you can send me a message on YouTube or leave me a couple of comments at youtube.com/JonathanClarke22. That was the initial purpose of making this video blog. I wanted to find out what you fans felt about the final iCarly ever. I know that it was filled with a lot of emotion, especially in the final 20 minutes of the show. If there ever is a portion of the final iCarly to watch that I would recommend, it is the final 20 minutes of the show, because of the amount of emotion that you feel, not only witness, but feel. It is incredible. So definitely, I do recommend it to everybody, and I rate it at least 5 out of 5 stars. I gotta go to the heights of rating it 5 out of 5 stars on a 5-star perspective scale, because of the amount of emotion, how the characters were able to break character successfully and kind of transit from their characters on screen to their everyday personalities back and forth. It was awesome. It was almost as if you could have done the show without the characters being portrayed, and you could have had the people on the camera be Jeanette McCarthy and Miranda Cosgrove all the time. I had never seen something as authentic as that done, and I think you deserve a lot of credit for breaking character alone. And if there's anything that the final edition of iCarly deserves an award for, an acknowledgement for, it's that, breaking character. And it's very difficult for actors and actresses to do that kind of thing, transit from on-screen characters to their everyday personalities. Oftentimes you see actors and actresses not even be able to break character off of camera, and then there are those who have a difficult time staying within character. But people like Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCarthy kind of got that quality really down pat, and that's a quality that I think is very hard to find. Characters that can kind of transit from their characters to their everyday personalities, and that's one of the biggest things that made iCarly as fantastic as it was for its final edition. I would have liked to have seen more guest appearances from characters that meant a lot out of iCarly, because there were several guest appearances that appeared on more than one iCarly in the way of a Victoria Justice, who I'm expecting big things from in 2013, 2014, 2015, and so on. And I'm expecting big things from characters of other shows that are going to have a lot of emphasis placed on them, along with a lot of pressure, because the final season of iCarly is finished and we're not going to see any more shows of iCarly produced. We're still going to get the occasional rerun, and there are a lot of auditions of iCarly that I would recommend for you to see. If you've never watched iCarly or a children's show, I would recommend it to you. We're still going to get the reruns, but along with the reruns, we're going to get a lot of emphasis on characters and other shows that the emphasis wasn't there for because of the popularity and the attention that iCarly was given. Something else that I have to say before I get out of here and archive this for you on YouTube is, I know over the last couple of years I've been very critical when it comes to Miranda Cosgrove. I really haven't been there in the way of a supportive person for her. And one of the biggest reasons why I didn't support Miranda Cosgrove, and I looked at her very negatively, was because I was under the impression and believement that she was overrated. And undoubtedly she was, because there were a lot of shows that had a lot of potential, like Victorious, that were kind of put on the back burner because Nickelodeon believed that iCarly was destined for greatness and it needed all the attention. If you would have gave that same attention to Victorious in 2010 when it premiered, if you were giving that same kind of attention to a show like How to Rock, they would have been taken to heights that would have been unimaginable. That's one of the biggest reasons why I was so critical towards Miranda Cosgrove. It was because I had nothing against her, or it wasn't because I didn't think she was successful. It was just because she was receiving so much attention, and I believed and was under the impression that she was overrated. So I kind of want to issue an apology on youtube.com/JonathanClarke22 going out to Miranda Cosgrove for how critical I've been of her over the last couple of years. I sincerely apologize for that, and if I've offended her or anybody that she's worked with over the last couple of years, I certainly want to, post this video blog with no animosity towards you, and I don't want you to feel as if I have any animosity towards you. I know I've been very harsh on Miranda Cosgrove, kind of like how Perez Hilton has been harsh on Hilary Duff for years. But I said it for a reason. I don't regret saying it, but I do apologize for saying it, because everything that I said towards Miranda Cosgrove, I said with a purpose and a reason and an explanation. There's an explanation behind everything, really, that I've said for Miranda Cosgrove, and all you got to do is go through my video archives here on YouTube, because there are many video archives where I have referenced iCarly and Miranda Cosgrove's career and the direction of it. I have acknowledged her faults, which a lot of critics have never done, because they always look at the prominent side of a personality in the way of a celebrity. I have been no stranger to acknowledging her faults. There is proof of that on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/JonathanClarke22. I'd like to state for the record and put out over this microphone, in no way do I regret saying things that I have about Miranda Cosgrove, but I do sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart, because what she exemplified in the final iCarly ever in the way of qualities and contributions was incredible. I especially loved how they went back through all the highlights of iCarly from when the actors and actresses were young,